All right, and I am going to go ahead and get started then. So what is CTY? We are a really small nonprofit part of Johns Hopkins University, and we focus on gifted and talented education for kindergarten through high school students. So we're really a teeny part of Hopkins that is working with elementary, middle, and high school students. And we offer summer academic programs at colleges, universities, and independent schools, so like K-12 independent schools across the nation. We're basically giving advanced learners a chance to kind of dig deeper and immerse more into a specific curriculum. So when they work with us for their 3 weeks, they're just taking one really advanced course, and they're doing that with a community of learners that are very similar to them. So people that really love learning for learning's sake and maybe are looking for some challenges that their home schools are not able to provide for them. In addition to that, we do have programs throughout the year that are mostly online based and some other opportunities for students. But our trademark program is our summer experiences, where the students are in the classroom most of the day, but then they also enjoy some outside of classroom activities, and that can be both recreational, so kind of regular camp stuff, arts and crafts and sports and trivias and dances and things like that. And then most of our campuses are residential, so the students are also living together on the hall for the 3 weeks that they're with us. A little bit more about our students. Like I mentioned, they are grades 2 through 12, so finishing grades 2 through 12. And the majority of our summer program students at our residential sites are finishing grade 5 through grade 10. So kind of middle school and the beginning of high school is the majority of the students. They are from all 50 states and over 40 countries each year. They come from public, private, independent, and homeschooled environments. And we do have need-based financial aid. So the program does have a tuition base, but we do offer need-based financial aid. That's because all the students are really smart. So if we did just regular academic scholarships, any of them could qualify for that. Students are identified through national and international talent searches. So basically they take an above-level test to be part of the program that will test them both in their kind of math skills and in their humanities writing skills. The math portion qualifies them for our math and science courses, and the humanities writing portion qualifies them for our other courses. So staff, we're going to talk a lot about the different types of positions that we have. So obviously we need some great people to work with these great students. But this is just a little bit about, kind of what the staff have the opportunity to learn and do during the program with us. So one, you're working with these super great kids. So the kids are highly motivated. And the cool thing about CTY is that we're all focused on learning. So we don't grade our courses. The kids are really just there for learning's sake and are excited about that. You get to network with fellow educators, students, and professionals from around the country and even around the world. We have staff members that are coming in from all different parts of the world. And because we offer classes in all different disciplines, you're really having the opportunity to meet with people that are in your discipline, but also in other areas, so that you can kind of get that diverse experience. You're going to live on campus for most of our sites and work with a talented, diverse group of individuals that are kind of there based on this commonality. Everybody's committed to education, to young people, to kind of making sure the future is better. And so you get to both live and work in that environment, which is really cool. Be part of this cool intellectual community. Gain experience and share strategies in a collegial environment. So this is a really good resume builder and stepping stone for people. So we have a lot of people that are thinking about education that maybe will start off as teaching assistants, or a lot of people that might want to go into recreation or residence life or working at a college later on. So like an RA position might be a great first step for them. So this is really a great job to practice some skills, to have Hopkins on your resume, to work with some really cool kids. And there's a lot of feedback given, so you have that advantage as well. And so, like I said, boosting your resume by working with an internationally recognized institution. So Hopkins obviously is known as a great college and grad school. The Center for Talented Youth is kind of the premier K through 12 gifted education experience. So we also are internationally recognized for our experience working with young students that are gifted and talented. So I wanted to just show this little clip. It is a former staff member. She actually still works for us, but more on our online programs, who also was a student years ago. So CTY has been around since the 80s. So it's been growing, but around for a long time. And she just talks a little bit about both working and being a student at CTY. So I'm going to show this and hopefully you can hear it. So Shelly, let me know if you can't.
Sometimes like when you're doing a lab and you catch a student, I'll catch a student sort of just sitting back and scanning the room, and you can see that they're like, yes, this is it. You know, these are people that come from every different state, every different country, many different backgrounds, many different ethnicities, socioeconomic backgrounds. But yet there is this kinship, this sense that you found a home. Paleobiology is a hybrid of biology, geology, and paleontology. We're essentially in 3 weeks studying 4 billion years of life history. Seeing in the oysters here, kind of like, so yeah, use your hands. Okay, so they're sort of all like that. I tell them at the beginning that we will cover a lot. And at the end of the session, I tell them that they have covered anywhere from a semester to a semester and a half of college level material in 3 weeks. They don't realize, I think, at the time that they're doing something extraordinary, which makes it even better. They're doing it for the love of learning it. Summer of 1993. I did 4 summers of CTY as a student at the site in the building that I now teach in. Little me, I don't remember. It was a series of happy accidents that I happened to even know about CTY. I went to a really small school. I definitely had the reputation for being, you know, the nerd, the teacher's pet. And then I was really sick in 7th grade. They diagnosed me with Lyme disease. It started just as a flu, and then within a few weeks I couldn't walk. I was really sick. So I didn't go to school for most of the year, and then ended up getting a letter in the mail saying you've qualified for this Center for Talented Youth. So my mom signed me up for it, not really sure if I was actually going to be around, but I was like, I'm going to go take this standardized test. And I think that I was so hungry for kinship with my intellectual peers that year that I spent not being challenged at CQI was really an amazingly transformative experience. Like a lot of former CTY students, I had always thought I'd really love to come back to CTY. I remember the classes, I remember the rigor, but I also remember doing the activities and dancing like a fool. The staff alone interacts in a way that is indicative of the fact that we are really all intellectually curious and that we are socially well-rounded. It really was sort of like peering behind the secret curtain, but in a good way, finding out that behind the secret curtain, it wasn't like a Wizard of Oz moment where you find out it's a sham. You find out that we are all people who have committed ourselves to a lifetime of learning.
All right. So now we're just going to talk a little bit about some of the really incredible positions that we do have available this summer, starting with the resident assistant. So this position is a really incredible opportunity to work closely with the students and nurture their social and emotional skills within the residential life space. They are trained to supervise the health and safety of students first and foremost during the times that they're not in class. So RAs are responsible for planning and conducting fun and engaging activities during the week and on weekends. And while RA's working hours are primarily during times when students are not in class, there are lots of built-in break times throughout the week, and you receive 2 full days off each session. RAs are also expected to work on weekends, and is typically their busiest and most engaging days. And during weekends, RAs work together to host really memorable student events like the Olympics, talent shows, casino nights, CTY dances, and so much more. So RAs, arrive a few days early to get to know one another and go through a very rigorous training so that they're prepared and confident for their role before the students arrive on site. So some of the minimum qualifications that we've posted for you here is you have to be at least, 18 years of age, and have at least 1 year of experience working with children. Successful RAs often return each year and are often promoted into roles such as the senior RA, Dean of Residential Life, and other administrative support roles. Some RAs also have the opportunity to work both as a teaching assistant for a session and a resident assistant for another session. This depends on site availability and competitiveness of the course topic. Next slide, please. So I want to talk a little bit also about the teaching assistant position. A lot of college students do sign up for this position. The primary responsibilities of teaching assistants are in improving students' academic success by tutoring students in their assigned class, assisting with the class paperwork and administrative duties, teaching and observing the class in collaboration with their instructor, supervising evening study hall sessions, and generally helping to ensure that the class runs smoothly each day. A typical schedule is, a TA will retrieve students each weekday morning after breakfast and assist the instructor and students with morning sessions. They're typically responsible for the supervision of class breaks and lunchtime. And in the afternoon, students return to class for additional class time and labs. By around 3 p.m., TAs bring their students back to their RAs for afternoon activity planning. Students are returned to the TAs in evening study hall sessions on Sunday through Friday evenings, but TAs generally don't have any work requirements between Friday afternoons and Sunday evenings. The minimum qualifications for a teaching assistant position is a high school diploma or GED, and at least 1 year of undergraduate experience in a related discipline. Successful TAs often return each year and in some instances are promoted into roles such as an instructor, an academic dean's assistant, or even an academic dean. Next slide. So the program assistant, it's a really fun role. It's somewhat of a hybrid between the RA and the TA. Program assistants support our younger student groups with supervision, both in and out of the classroom during the commuter program. They are expected to plan and supervise all afternoon activities and assist instructors with classroom prep, classroom management, and tutoring of our young scholars. PAs supervise students during breaks and over lunch periods, and lunch is provided for the duration of camp. Program assistants are only available at the day site locations, which means that candidates applying for this position must be able to commute to site Monday through Fridays for a standard 8 to 5 p.m. schedule. Returning PAs are typically successful and may go on to become instructors, dean of student assistants, and other junior administrative roles. And minimum qualifications for this position is experience working with children. And if you're in high school, you must be eligible for a work permit. Next slide, please. Oh. All right, so moving into a different area of CTY, we do have a health office, and within the health office is the health assistant. Health assistants work closely with the site nurse and site director to participate in the day-to-day operation of the site health office as part of the site administrative team. This includes keeping track of students' medications, conferring with parents and guardians, and assisting as needed with students. Health assistants are not responsible for providing medical care, but does require a great deal of flexibility as demands vary from day to day depending on the site. Health assistants are usually given a schedule and arrive at the office during their allotted time to catch up on any paperwork, check emails, and other correspondence during the morning shift. They may also conduct an inventory of supplies, do clinic visits, and make phone calls. In the afternoons, they may be expected to distribute lunch medications, do more clinic visits, and other duties as assigned. This is a really great gateway to get into the health field. We've seen a lot of our health assistants go on to become site nurses, and this is a really great first step for them in their medical career once they acquire those state-specific licenses. So the minimum qualifications for a health assistant at CTY is to have a high school certificate or GED, and at least 1 year of experience working or volunteering in a medical setting. You must also have first aid and CPR training prior to the start of camp. And that is something that we can also help facilitate to make sure you get that before the session starts. All right. The residential program assistant. So this position is a really fun one. It provides, the camp with logistical support and helps with the daily operation of both the site office and the residential program. Residential program assistants work in shifts to conduct clerical assistance to the front office, manage supply runs, transport students, ensure basically a smooth site operation. They kind of do a little bit of everything. On occasion, an RPA may assist the resident assistants in planning, preparing, or conducting daily residential activities and weekend events for students. Specific RPA tasks and responsibilities vary widely with each site's demands and depending on the needs of the site. RPA days off typically occur at least twice per session. Just like the health assistants, RPAs work in shifts. So during morning shift, the RPA opens the office and works in the front desk, checking the phone, checking email messages, answering incoming calls, etc. They also organize supply runs that usually happen 2 to 3 times per week. In the afternoons, RPAs take a lunch break and help supervise student activities. Those that arrive in the late afternoon or during evening shift, RPAs basically do the same thing. They arrive to the front desk, check for any phone messages or emails that were left, and answer any incoming calls. They sign out commuter students as well and continue facilitating those supply run requests. On weekends, the RPA is expected to still operate as a typical weekday. Excuse me. Many RPAs return each year in the same capacity or as a general assistant if they have housing near a day program, or even move on up to become, a senior level office manager in the future. Next, yep, so go ahead. So other positions that are available that we aren't really going to deep dive into today include an instructor. These are more supervisory, more administrative, independent teaching experience that requires a little bit more education and typically more experience, but some other roles that you want to consider for future purposes, or if you're eligible and are interested in applying. There are instructor positions, senior resident assistant positions, site nurses and office managers, other site leadership, site director, dean, or even a counselor. So here are a few quotes and testimonials that we've received from some of our former staff members. We just wanted to allow you to have a look at some of the really wonderful experiences that some of our staff have come back and shared with us. So just take a minute to read some of these testimonials, just to get a sense of the purpose that we do here, and really the recognition and just the love of the program that our staff members see.
So as you can see from these, our staff members generally have a really positive experience, and almost 60% of them do return from year to year. A lot of the ones that can't return, it's because they're kind of moving on in their career, maybe graduating from college and moving into full-time jobs, and maybe moving or starting a family. But generally our staff do like to return for a couple of years before their situations change. And so this kind of shows you a little bit about what they think they're getting out of the experience. And we just pulled 4 from tons and tons of responses that we get each year from our end of site evaluations. So we just wanted to cover a few logistics before we wrap up with questions. So these are the locations that we're operating this year. We have 7 residential locations. So we're at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, Dickinson College in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. That's kind of South Central Pennsylvania. Ursinus College in Collegeville, Pennsylvania. That's in the Philadelphia suburbs. Skidmore College in Saratoga Springs. That's closest to Albany, would be the biggest town there. Roger Williams University, Bristol, Rhode Island, that's about an hour from Boston. Loyola Marymount University, that's out in Los Angeles, and UC Santa Cruz in Santa Cruz, California, about an hour south of San Francisco. So those 7 locations, we have our older student programs, so anywhere between finishing 5th and about 16 years old, and we do provide room and board as well as a salary at all of those locations. The 3-day commuter locations that we have are in Baltimore, New York City, and in West Los Angeles at Gilman School, Spire Legacy School, and Merman School. Those 3 locations, we do not have housing available. So you do provide your own housing and transportation to and from the location each day. We do provide a salary and lunch each day. And here are our dates this year. So most of our sites are running the dates that are listed here, June 20th to July 13th. Those include staff training days, and July 13th to August 3rd. 3 of our sites actually start 1 week later and then end 1 week later. It's our 2 sites in New York, so it's Skidmore College and Spire Day Site, as well as our site at UC Santa Cruz. Those 3 will start the 27th and end on August 10th. And in general, our staff can work 1 or both of our summer sessions. We do always love staff that can work for all 6.5 weeks. But if you can only work for 1 of the sessions, definitely still apply. And as I said before, all of our positions are salaried. We do provide room and board at just those 7 residential locations. We also provide a small training bonus for some online training that is done before the summer. All right. How to apply. So we are part of Johns Hopkins University. So our application is on the Johns Hopkins website, and I'm going to try to link out to it just so that you can see it, but we'll make sure in the follow-up email that you get from this event that you do have the link to the application. So I'm going to click here. And so basically you're looking for job, if you want to jot it down, job rec ID 111644. It says 2024 CTY on-campus summer programs employment. And this is just kind of a general helper screen that kind of just tells you what you're going to need to upload as part of the application process. It reminds you our locations. Please note that we no longer have the Quest suburb site. We do have all the other sites that are listed here. It's going to just give you a quick rundown of the jobs that we have available. If you want to look at any of them in more detail, you can click this link, and it's going to tell you a little bit more about each position. So you can go to view positions at either residential sites or day sites. If you click on any of these blue links, it's going to take you to a PDF that will just talk a little bit about the minimum requirements, a little bit of that kind of stuff that Michelle was talking about kind of day-to-day, what will the job look like and what are the tasks that you're going to do, and then a little bit of a sample daily schedule. So you can kind of check those out, make sure you know what jobs you're most interested. And then once you have everything ready, and that would be a resume for all positions, and then a transcript if you're interested in the TA or instructor positions. You'll hit this apply now button, and it's going to start your application where you're going to put in all of your information, name, address, all of that. And then you'll start preferencing the positions that you're interested in, the locations that you're interested in, the sessions that you're available, and any comments that you want us to know as we're looking at your preferences. You are able to apply for multiple jobs. So that's one really cool thing about our application. You can rank things. So you can rank up to, I believe it's 4 positions. If you're interested in a TA or instructor role, you can rank up to 8 classes that you think you'd be a good fit for. And then you can tell us what locations you are interested in. We do provide domestic air travel for people that need to travel more than 300 miles to any of the sites that they would be hired for. And then just so that everyone knows, if you are an F1 visa applicant, as long as you can get CPT or OPT, you are welcome to apply for our positions. Unfortunately, other than for instructor candidates, we're not able to sponsor J1 visas. We do review applications on a rolling basis, and so the sooner you get one in, the better. So March 1st is kind of our priority review, but we'll continue recruiting staff throughout the spring, and you're certainly welcome to apply anytime. At this point, we are about 60% hired, so we do still have quite a few positions, especially for college students that are looking to work for us this summer. So even if you can't get it in by March 1st, definitely you still have a great shot. Get it in as soon as possible. And each Wednesday, we send out invites to interview. We do Zoom or Teams interviews for all of our positions, and also ask people to get a few contacts in that we can send a few questions for references. And that's kind of our process for hiring. All right, I am going to go ahead and turn off the recording, hopefully, and then we are going to do any questions that people have. Go ahead and type them into the chat.